Okay guys, it's time to do it with Eric again. We've got a central heating problem to deal with here. The problem at the moment we've got is this radiator is actually quite warm and the central heating is turned off. And the other problem we've got coming alongside with it is the fact that when you turn the hot tap on, you only get lukewarm water out of it, not very hot water. So we're going to have to go in there and have a look at what's going on. And I think the hardest part of this job is the fact that the airing cupboard where the boiler is actually my daughter's room, and I think probably part of the problem is going to be actually getting to it in the first place. Okay, so we put a bit of light on the subject and we can see the boiler now. Right, the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to turn off the power. I've turned it off at the switch just there, and I'm going to turn it off at the mains as well, just so we don't go getting the belt off anything. We'll check that's actually worked by trying to turn the boiler on, and you can see we've got nothing. The boiler we're working on, incidentally, is an Ideal Isar. Right, so we've given it a good few minutes to cool down. The next thing we've got to do is get in there, and if you see, that's done by accessing the two screws just there. We undo those and that front panel should just lift off. Yeah, it's a bit dingy in there, hopefully you can see what I'm doing. So if we've taken the screws out, the next thing we do is simply grab this and it should just lift off. Like that. The next thing we've got to do, we've got 4 screws, one at each corner there, and that should take the front panel off. Sorry about the light conditions. Right, so we can get a good look at things now. We probably didn't really need to remove that, because the thing we're interested in, I think, is going to be this item just here, which is the diverter valve. I'm going to remove that control unit, and the PCB which is in that box then should just flip down and out of the way. Now, given the symptoms we've got, I think it's almost certainly going to be a problem with this thing. Now, this thing is a diverter valve. You see what we've got there is an electric actuator, and then at the back, if I can get the light on it so you can see it, that's the valve. Now, on these things, I know for a fact it's an Achilles heel. These things stick. Now, the purpose behind this little diverter valve is if you put the hot water on, it's supposed to turn off the central heating supply so it can concentrate on just making hot water, and instead of filling the radiators at the same time. Thus you get hotter water, but the central heating doesn't run at the same time. I think what's happening here is the fact that we've got hot radiators and lukewarm water, that's not working. So we're going to take that out and have a look at what's what. Now really, to drain this down properly, what I should be doing is back here we've got a drain cock, and we should be putting a hose pipe on the little appendage that sticks out there. Again, you can't really see it too well. Let's get in there. There's the little thing sticking down. Now, the problem with that really is it's fiddly, it's hard to get at, and in this case I really don't think it's necessary. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn off the hot water supply. Well, I'm going to turn off the water supply to the house end, so we won't get any nasty floods. And my plan is to open the diverter valve just there, and then I'm going to put a bucket underneath it to catch the water, and we're going to drain the system down like that. We're just hoping that the capacity of the bucket is equal to or greater than the capacity of the boiler. So what could possibly go wrong? So this could be one of a few things. It could be the signal to the actuator, it could be the electronic actuator itself, but it's far more likely to be that diverter valve. Well, that's from experience anyway. Let's have a look. This bad boy should just come off by rotating it anti-clockwise. Like that. And we can put that out of the way. We could disconnect the back, I don't think we need to. And here could be where the problem is. This should move inwards quite easily, and if you see, if I try and press it, it's absolutely solid. So I think we found the problem. Okay, the next thing we've got to do then is turn the water off. So we need to get at this. I'll just use a screwdriver to lift this up. Oh, bum. Absolutely full of muck. So I've got to dig that out, and then I'll have to wash my hands before I turn the water off. That's a bit better. We can actually see it now, so I'm going to give that little cock there a turn 90 degrees clockwise. That should turn the water off to the house. Right, so here's the offending article. Again, the light's pretty poor here. Let's take you outside and then maybe you can see it better. You can see it's actually quite dirty in there, and when I press down on the end of that, it's not moving at all, which we know is wrong. We need a nice clean surface to work on, so that little circlip at the top, which is going to have to come off. I don't know if you can actually see it. So that circlip's got to come off, and we don't want to lose that. These things cost about £100, 150 depending on where you go. So we really don't want to have to buy a new one if we can help it, not on an old boiler like this. So the intention is to strip it and try and get it moving again. Right, so we've got the spring stripped off. The next thing I'm going to do is give it all a good squirt with some WD-40. We'll go inside and out. And then basically we're going to work it and see if we can actually get this thing to move. It does move. And there you are, you can see now it's free. It's actually moving quite easily now. I'm going to work that a bit. It might be quite nice if I could flush it out with something else, but since I haven't got any hot water at the moment in the house, I can't use detergent or something like that. But as long as that's moving freely, then we know that's job done and we found the problem. So hopefully everything will be alright now. We just got to put it back together. Okay, so all moving freely. This part's fiddly. We've got to put the spring back on. There's a spring seat just here. And the fiddly bit is getting that circlip back on. Probably the best thing to do is to get someone to help with this. Put it on and hold it down and clip the circlip back on. There's a big danger of this going pachoing and you're losing the parts, which we don't want on a £150 part. And there we are, the proof is in the pudding. You can see it slides quite easily now. Aha, we found a light on it. Right, we've got to be careful here. Can you see we've got a gasket there? We don't want to damage that. This can only go back in one position because there's a little dowel hole there. So that should be idiot proof. It's simply a case now of repeating in reverse everything we've done. Right, so that's all back together. The thing you've got to bear in mind, this is a quick fix. It would be best to replace that diverter valve. It'd last longer, but we can always free it off again. The other problem is you've got additive in that liquid that was been drained out. So now your system is depleted of the antifreeze type stuff that stops the corrosion. You should really be topping that back up. Anyway, the next thing we've got to do is fill the boiler back up and see if it runs. Okay, so all we've got to do now is fill it up. You can see the gauge is reading 0 there. Here we've got a loop which comes off the cold water system. Obviously I'll turn the cold water back on, the supply to the house. There's no water gushing everywhere, which is a good step really. And what we've got to do just underneath here, there's a little screw on each one. We undo both of them. Okay, so as you can see it's now reading. We've got that lot turned off. All we've got to do is turn the power back on now, and the proof in the pudding is in the eating, so we're going to try it out. We switch it on and make sure this all initialises properly. Right, so we've got that running. You can see you've got D for demand, that shows that the tap's on, and we've got piping hot water coming out the tap, so that's the result. I think the pipes I pointed out to you last time were wrong actually. What we've got here is the cold water in, which fills the system up, and then you've got your hot pipe, which is your hot water pipe, which is hot as you would expect, and then your central heating pipe, which is this thicker one that comes down the side there. That's nice and cold. Now that's a result in my book, because that means the radiators are no longer filling up with hot water. So I think we've actually done a good job there. We're looking at that pressure. We don't want that to drop, and that's fine. It's still where it should be. I will go around when the system's hot, and we might need to bleed the radiators a little bit, because we might have got some air in the system. Although we probably haven't. It's probably fine. The total cost, I reckon, here we've saved for what? That's £150 for the part. They've probably had VAT onto that as well. It'd cost you £60 to have some guy come out and look at it in the first place. I reckon I'll probably save myself, looking down the barrel of somewhere like £400 there. So, look, it is quite possible. There's no harm in having a go yourself. Do it with Eric. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you find it useful.